first up, I decided to start with the squares. So each of these squares, if I measure them, they are 5 inches. So they are traditional, like a charm square. And I would have to cut them down to do the blocks that I'm doing. Or I can have all different sorts of blocks and make this very hodgepodgey. But let's take a look at a possible layout for this. And I have 4 different colors. Let's see what we can come up with. Okay. So here we go with a possible 9 patch. So this will either lend itself to creating something that could just be all of the squares mixed up together, or I can make just the block. So let's make the block. What we're going to do is we're going to put these together in sections. So I will flip these over here this way, then I will come back and I will stitch these onto each of these rows and then put the whole thing together. And we'll just move those down into that section. I'm going to chain piece these. I'm gonna bring up my machine. Oops. And what we will do, taking those edges, right sides together, 1/4 inch seam, first one done. We'll take the second 2. And it would have been nice if I would have pressed these first, but we didn't. We'll line these up. So these are 5-inch blocks. Because these are 5-inch blocks, they are going to create 5 inches across times 3 is 15. I am doing a 1/4 inch seam. So between each of these, we will have just want to make sure that these are right. And then we're going to add this on. So between each of these 15, we will lose 1 inch. And so they should be 14-inch blocks. We'll lose a 1/2 inch. I'm sorry. Lose a 1/2 inch on each one. Because there's 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4 in the centers, which will leave us with a 14-inch block. So the great thing is that these will finish at 14, and I can easily make each block 14 inches if I choose. I can make the center block bigger at 14. This could be the pillow for whatever I'm working on, and everything else could be 12. I could make 6-inch blocks. It's just totally up to me how I want these blocks to show up. Okay. 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 So these are the blocks here. What I do need to do is press those blocks. This is up to you how you want to press the blocks. You could press the blocks open or to one side. If I want them to nest, what I'm going to do is press the blocks in opposite directions so that they will nest. And nest means that they'll just butt right up one against the other. And I'll show you what that looks like in a minute once I press my blocks. I choose when I am quilting to press my blocks closed so they go to one side. So for this first row, the blocks are pressed out. For this row, I pressed my blocks to the center. So that way, one is going one way, the other one's going the other way, and they are going to just fit very nicely together. And then I can take it to my sewing machine and stitch those. You can choose to use pins or clips. Very rarely do I use them. Okay, again, this goes in. This one's going out. I line up. And we got one more section to go. Okay. Let's open that up. If I did it correctly, you can see how those corners all match up. Okay. Take this back, and again, I'm going to give that a press. Just because I want everything to lay as nice and flat as it possibly can. When ironing, even though we call it ironing, we are not ironing, we are pressing. So we don't want to do a lot of movement with our iron while we're doing this because we don't want to stretch the fabric. Okay, so again, I press those out. These were pressed in. And then I can come back. Take those, they line up. Those corners just fit. Then I can take it back to my machine and stitch. 1/4 of an inch. Make sure everything is still lined up the way that I need it to be. We'll come along here. We'll make sure this is straight. Line everything up the way it's supposed to be. And then that's together. And again, we'll give this a good press. And here is the final block. So here is just a regular 9 patch.